Alright guys, welcome back. Today we're going to learn about Python strings. But first things first, what's a string? Strings are like sentences. They are a sequence of characters that can contain spaces or numbers, and they're used to represent text not only in Python but probably in any programming language that you'll encounter. As such, they're one of the most popular data types in Python, if not the most popular. And to define strings, you need to enclose their characters between quotation marks. You can use either double or single quotes to define a string. And let's do this. Python interpreter. Let's type in a string. But first, let's define a variable. My string equals my name is Edward. Let's see if the string was stored in my string, and this returns my name is Edward, which is cool. Let's now define a second string. My string 2 equals I'm Edward. And as you can see, this returns a syntax error. Virtually, when you enclose the string between quotation marks, like we have done here, for example, in the first case, you tell Python where the string begins and where it ends. Ours, it began at capital M and ended at lowercase d, whereas in the second case, it began at capital I and apparently it ended at I, as Python recognizes the first single quotes it encounters as the terminal endpoint of the string. Because in our sentence, the single quote is just an apostrophe, whenever we want to define strings that contain apostrophes, we need to define the string in double quotation marks like this. So just enclose it between double quotation marks. Let's check my string 2, and as you can see, it was stored in my string 2. Right, strings can also span across multiple lines. One way to define them is by using triple quotes like this. Define another variable. My string 3 equals triple quotation marks. My enter name enter is Edward, and close triple quotes. Right, let's run it and check it. And as you can see here, we have a bunch of characters /n characters which are not accounted for. What are these? Well, these are just new line characters, and they signal that a new line is created at that exact place in the string. And Python allows us to remove these quite easily by inserting a backslash wherever we want a new line to be inserted. So let's write again. My string 3 equals my slash name slash is slash Edward, and close quotation marks. Let's rerun my string 3, and as you can see, we got rid of the /n from the string. Right, so far we have learned that strings could be defined both between single and double quotes, and that when we want to insert apostrophes in the string, we should use double quotes. If our string spans across multiple lines of code, it's advisable that we use triple quotes. In case you're wondering why or what for you need triple quotes, they can be used as documentation strings, where they're basically sentences of text documenting a specific segment of code. And in my line of work, I use them when I need to run very long SQL queries in Python. Okay, cool. So let's move on and see what other interesting things you can do with strings. Let's talk about string indexing. Python uses indexing to identify the position of a string element in a string sequence. And we count the string indexes from left to right, from element 0 towards the end of the string. If we count from right to left, because we start indexing at 0, the rightmost index of the string will have the index -1, as it starts counting backwards from the end of the string. So let's try to identify this in practice. Let's create a string 1 equals, let's say, YouTube. Not very imaginative. Okay, let's press enter. YouTube was stored in string 1. Using indexing, let's try to extract the first character of the string, which is capital Y. As I mentioned earlier, when counting from left to right, the first index is 0. So we would like to be able to fetch index 0 from the string. We can do this in the following way: string 1, and then between square brackets, between square brackets, just give it index 0. And as you can see, if we press enter, it fetches index 0 and returns it to the screen. If we want to look for the fourth character in string 1, we can simply type string 1 of 3. Why 3? Because we start counting at 0. So the first character's index is 0, the second character's is 1, third 2, fourth is 3. And as you can see, it returns the fourth character, which is T. Easy enough. If we want to identify the last character in the string, we could simply do string 1 of -1, and this returns E. That's correct. E is the last character of YouTube. Now, Python has a built-in function that returns the number of characters in the string. So let's try it. The function is called len, and it receives the argument, the variable. So length of string 1 should give us 7, and this means that the string YouTube holds 7 characters. If we want to identify an index that's greater than the length of the string, then Python will throw in an indexer. Let's see it. Let's say we want to fetch string 1 of 7. Because YouTube has 7 characters with indexes ranging from 0 to 6, if we want to fetch index 7, we will see that Python tells us that we're trying to see an invalid index of the string because it doesn't exist. And as you can see, it returns an index error, and then it tells us that the string index is out of range. Right, I'm going to end the video here to allow you to grasp the information you have seen so far. In the next video, we'll discuss more about strings. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.